Hey, good afternoon, everyone. If you have any questions during the presentation, there is a Q&A window at the top of your screen, so put your questions in there. If you don't see a Q&A window, just use the chat. We will answer questions at the end of the session. So my name is Gina Thomas, in case you don't know. I'm the training manager here at C&K Systems, and your hostess for Training Bites, a digestible approach to counterpoint training. And then, of course, joining me, as always, Marty Katz, project lead here at C&K Systems. He'll be around to help me answer questions.
Good morning and or afternoon, depending on your location.
This is very true. We do have people that are on the West Coast joining us today, or at least in the Mountain Time Zone, and it is still morning here. So we're going to talk about point of sale reports today. And if you've ever looked in point of sale reports, there's a lot of reports there. So what report does what and what report shows what? Do you really need all the reports or some of the reports? Which report should you run? Or here's a question I get a lot. You know, under point of sale reports are like the standard drawer reading, a ticket edit list. What about something more granular, outside of these ho-hum, here's what you did in sales? What about sales by item? Maybe sales by category, sales by vendor. And that's all before I post. So of course, after posting, you can go to sales history to see sales reports, but what about before posting? So we'll talk about that today. So the point of sale reports we're going to focus on today, by and large, are pre-posting reports. I'll show you some history ones too, but by and large, that's the focus. That'll include this wonderful report called Unposted Sales Analysis. So for those of you that use sales analysis by group and love it, that's only for history. So the unposted sales analysis is the same report, but for unposted sales. It's designable as well. And then if you've ever looked at any module in Counterpoint, be it purchasing, point of sale, inventory, you'll notice that there's a report tab called Journals and a report tab called History. So we'll talk about the difference between the two today. So when you go to point of sale reports, you'll see a hold report. That's just all your holds. Quotes, if you use quotes, all your quotes. An orders report that's looking to customer orders, back orders, special orders. So if you're the type of business that does that customer orders, let's see, somebody orders it and they want to pick it up later. The orders report will show you all open orders. Then there's an order activity report, which will show you a very summarized report of all orders with no item detail. But it'll show you the state the order is in, any deposits that were taken. It looks to the dawn of time. There's also drop ship orders if you're using that feature. This is a nice feature in Counterpoint if you don't use it. A drop ship order is a customer comes in, they want to order something from you and you're out of stock. And the item needs to be ordered from the vendor. So a drop ship order assumes that the merchandise is going to ship directly from the vendor to the customer, so the customer doesn't have to come back to the store. So that's a pretty nice feature. Then there's a layaways report. For those of you that use layaways, it'll show all open layaways. And let's advance. Oh, did I go back too far? No, I did not. Okay, then you'll see a layaway activity report. Again, summarized, no item detail. What state is a layaway in? Then open customer specific purchases. This report works hand in hand with another feature in Counterpoint. It is dedicated to customer orders, back orders, and special orders, and it'll tell you what you've received based on customer orders. And I'll talk a little more in depth about it later. There's the X-tape report. That's just, how are my sales? What are my returns? How much money did I collect for each tender type? And it's designed to print on your little receipt printer, your little 40-column printer. Then there's unposted sales analysis. That's the designable one. Price exceptions. That's to see price overrides before you post. And then there's reprint tickets. So reprint tickets will look to the past, which is nice. So if you have somebody that comes in and says, I was here last week or last month and I need a copy of my receipt, you could go to reprint tickets. Then under point of sale reports, I mentioned the unposted sales analysis. It's only going to report on unposted sales. So no on hands, on order, anything like that, just sales. There are multiple reports listed in here and I'll show them to you. And again, it's all designable, which is very nice. Then journal versus history. So you'll notice on the top row, I have closed order history, closed layaway history, drawer history, and then the same exact reports are under journals, except they're called something different. Closed order journal, closed layaway journal, drawer summary journal. Here's the difference. A history report will offer you filtering options, like for dates, customers. Journals do not. Journals are what we call event driven. So if you ever watch posting of anything, post your purchasing, post your receiving, post your sales, if you watch it at the end, Counterpoint says, oh, this is event number 1-11111. So that's what journals look at. They look at those events. All right, let's go ahead and get into the software and take a look. So the first report I want to talk about is the ticket edit list. And you see it here on my favorites, but if I go to point of sale and tickets, here's my edit list. A ticket edit list is a list of unposted transactions. So if you're the type of business that has auto posting enabled, so you don't have to press a button to post, it happens overnight while you're away, you need to run this edit list every morning to make sure that posting didn't fail, because it will from time to time. Power outages, solar flares, who knows? So if you have auto posting, please check your edit list every morning. It should be blank. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on my edit list. And when you launch this, you can enable to print line items, maybe show payment detail for every unposted transaction, maybe show deposit detail, maybe a pay code recap, maybe you want to print some notes. You don't need dates because it's only going to look at unposted. We're assuming, or I'm assuming, you post daily. So again, only unposted sales. So when I preview this, here's each and every transaction that is not posted. So the gray area is kind of general information. Then I have item detail, and then you can see I have payment detail down here. And if I go to the last page, I will also see subtotals and totals. And here's my pay code recap, how much I collected for each tender. There's another purpose for the edit list. Let's say posting fails. If posting fails, the edit list will tell you why. So if you've ever worked with me when it comes to posting, I always say, don't walk away from the computer, don't go to Starbucks, watch this post, just to make sure you don't get errors. So I've configured Counterpoint to fail. Well, I didn't really configure it. I changed a calendar. So I know posting is going to fail. So we'll just say yes. Okay, so this is why I tell people to watch posting. If you see a message like this, it means posting failed. One or more transactions did not post. So you need to log a support ticket. Or you can find out why the posting failed. Now, if you do log a support ticket, one of the first thing the technicians does when you say posting failed is they come to run this report to find out why. So this report won't predict a failure, but once there's been a failure, it'll tell you why. So I'm going to click on this edit list again. And, again, I'll just look at all my line items and deposits and notes and everything else. So now I'm getting an error reference. This wasn't here before. This only appears if posting fails. And so it even tells you, well, the reason why I didn't post this ticket was because the calendar is out of date. We get a lot of those phone calls at the beginning of the year where posting failed because somebody didn't change over the calendar. It's one of the most common reasons. So the edit list will tell you why posting failed. And again, you can either go fix your calendar if you know how, or log a support ticket. Either one is fine. Another way to look at your unposted sales without running a report is something called a view. And views are everywhere in Counterpoint. So if I go to point of sale and I go to views, this view tickets means let me look at tickets that are not posted without running a report. So if I click on this, I can use these black arrows to kind of scroll through them. You can see my error message here. All right. There's another way to see your errors. Something that I like a little bit better than just, scrolling through each ticket is I like going to the table view. So when I go to the table view, I get a split screen. The top half of the screen gives me a summary of each transaction, and the bottom half of the screen gives me item detail. And here's the nice thing. Unlike an edit list, I can manipulate this. I can't manipulate an edit list. So if you know anything about your column designer, if I go to the top half of the screen, I can go into my column designer and add and remove columns. If I go to the bottom half of the screen, I can right click, go into my column designer and add or remove columns. So you get nice kind of at a glance information. Another report that I like is the drawer reading. Again, these are unposted sales. So if I go to point of sale and I go to drawers, here's my drawer reading. And I've only been ringing sales on one computer or one station. So if I have more than one store, more than one station, I don't need to filter. If I leave this blank, then Counterpoint's going to show me every single station, every single store. And then if I want a total after each store, I can just enable print store totals. And then if I want a grand total, all my stores and all my stations combined for unposted sales, I would print report totals. Now, if you're a single store, either or, you can use either or of these. You don't have to use both of them. So I'm just going to preview. And then I'll see every single station, every single drawer. I love the drawer reading. It's nice, it's brief. I get nice at a glance information of my unposted sales. I can see my sales minus my returns. I can see what I started my drawer with, which was nothing, and how much money I collected for each tender. Now, let's say you do have a lot of stores and a lot of stations, and you don't want the report to be that granular. Maybe you just want a total for each store and then a grand total at the end. So if I uncheck this, everything except these two, and again, if you're single store, it doesn't matter which one. And then Counterpoint will just give me this very nice one page, all my stores, all my stations combined. I'll just go ahead and exit from there. Now, again, this is designed to print on your report printer, not your receipt printer. Won't fit. Way to do a drawer reading is through something that I don't see used often enough, and it's something called drawer management. Now, it does have a limitation that you can only do a drawer reading for one computer at a time. So if you've never seen drawer management, it's pretty cool. If you go to point of sale, go to drawers, here's drawer management. This gives you a bird's eye view, all your stores, all your stations. Now, right now I'm logged into my main, but if I wanted to look at my East, I could look at my East or my new East store. I can see every single station. Inactive means drawer is totally closed. No one's ringing sales. It's not open. Reconciled, when posting fails, Counterpoint can't close out the drawer, so it leaves it in a reconciled state. But what's nice about this drawer management is that when I'm highlighted on this reconciled drawer, I can actually see an audit trail right here. And then if I want to do a drawer reading, again, only one drawer at a time, I can just click on drawer reading. I don't need to filter for anything, just preview, and Counterpoint's going to give me a reading for that one drawer. So there's no mechanism in drawer management to combine all of these. You have to go to the drawer reading. Another feature of drawer management, if you're not using it, is you can actually do your entire opening and closing routine through here, one drawer at a time, but you can do opening and closing. So I can activate, I can count, reconcile, post, and do a drawer reading. So drawer management's very handy. So I'm going to just go to point of sale reports, and let's look at these reports. Here's my holds report. These are all my tickets I hold. Something that a lot of people don't realize is that if you put a transaction on hold, it stays on hold forever. So in other words, just because you post at the end of the night does not make your holds go away. They stay on hold until you process them. So I'm going to enable print line items. I'll click on preview. And then I'll get a list of all my holds. I think I only got 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. Now it's just a report. I can't process the holds from here. All I can do is see that I have holds. The only way to process your holds, either recall them or to delete them, is in point of sale, one at a time. I think it's a good idea that if you do use holds, part of your end of day routine should be to check for holds and delete them, because that happens in real life. Somebody's, you're ringing somebody up and they say, oh, I left my wallet in my car. I'll be right back. And they just never come back. But meanwhile, you put the transaction on hold and it's going to stay there. Another way to look at your holds without running a report is to go to views, just like we did for the tickets. I can view tickets that aren't posted, but I can also view all my holds. So if I come in here, I can flip through them with the black arrows, or what I like better is to go to table view, because I get nice at a glance information. And again, top half is designable, bottom half is designable. But I can't process orders from here. All I can do is look at them, which is why it says view. I can't do any editing, no deleting. If I have to delete these holds, I have to log into point of sale. Quotes, if you use quotes, this is the same as holds. Quotes by default have a 30-day expiration, but just because a quote has expired does not mean Counterpoint deletes it because it stays there. Your quotes stay on file even past the expiration date. So this report will show you your quotes. And again, nothing fancy. Maybe I want to see some line items. And then I preview. And I will see all of my quotes. And again, it's a report. I can't do anything here. All I can do is look. And then if I want another way to look at my quotes without running a report, guess what? A view. A view will do it. View quotes. And then if I go to the table view again, I can see a summary of the quotes. I can see item detail, and I can customize what I'm looking at, top half and bottom half. But in order to process the quote, to recall it, convert it to a sale, or to delete it, I've got to be logged into point of sale. And if I have a bunch that I need to delete, just like holds, I can only delete them one at a time. So there's no bulk delete feature for holds or quotes. So you want to keep them cleaned up is really the moral of that story. Orders report. These are for customer orders, back orders, special orders that are still open or they've been released and you have not posted yet. So if I go to the orders report, I should have a couple here. And again, I can print line items. If I use my cool purchasing tool, I can print purchasing information. I'll talk more about that in a minute. I can see notes. I can filter if I just want to see certain customers or certain date ranges, and then I'll preview. So the orders report is going to give me all my open orders and my orders that have been released but not yet posted. Now my order activity report will look at reports from the dawn of time, and it is a summarized report. It doesn't give me any item detail. So if I preview this, you can see I have orders dating back to 2022. And you can see that this one is canceled. Here's another one that was canceled. So it's just showing you this one was completed, so this one wasn't canceled. So it's just showing you the status of the orders. Now, maybe you don't want to see orders from the dawn of time. That's just too many. By default, this filter does not have a date range. So if you right click and customize, you can click here to add a condition. You can find ticket date, and we don't want is on, that's not practical. So if you click on is on and do a between, then you can do a date range. And I'm just going to simplify this. So again, not here by default, but maybe I just want to see year to date my orders. So if I preview, there's my orders year to date. You can see this one is from January 4th. The other thing you can do in order activity to kind of narrow down the return of the information, by default, this drop down is here. So if you use this drop down and choose current, that just means open orders without any detail. Or maybe you just want to look at your closed orders or your closed layaways. Drop ship orders, I don't have drop ship turned on, so I don't have any drop ship orders. But again, those are orders customers placed with you, and the vendor's going to ship the merchandise directly to the customer. This is a nice feature because, again, the customer doesn't have to return to your store. They're going to get the merchandise on their doorstep rather than driving to your store to pick it up. Layaways, for those of you that use layaways, not a lot, but a few of you. The layaways report is only open layaways. So if I print items or layaways that have been released and not yet posted, and I preview that, there's my layaway, lots of item detail. Now layaway activity is like the order activity. All my layaways from the dawn of time, no item detail. I can preview, and I've only had one layaway. But again, if I don't want to look at all layaways from the dawn of time, you can customize the filter and filter for a date range. Open customer specific purchases. This is such a cool feature if you use it correctly. So this relies on another report. So if I go to purchasing and purchase request, see how I have customer specific purchases? This report focuses on items that customers have ordered from me, the merchant. Customer orders, back orders, special orders. And here's what's cool about this. When you come in here and run this report, and I'll just preview it for you. So you can see Kenneth placed a shirt on order. It's like a regular customer order. And this is something that I need to order to satisfy Ken's request. So notice that there's a generate button here. So generate will build the purchasing document for me. And all I have to do is go into purchase request enter to post them. But by doing this, by generating POs or purchase request from this report, That allows me to use this report. So when the merchandise comes in that was ordered from the customer specific purchasing report, Counterpoint doesn't say, whoa, wait a minute. Hey, you owe that merchandise to customers. So on a regular basis, you would come here to see, hey, did I receive in anything today or this week that I owe to a customer? So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this and I'm going to preview it. Notice it defaults to received. Only show me items that I've received that I owe to customers where I created the purchase request from that report and generate. So now I could call my customers and say, come pick up your merchandise. The other thing you can do with this report is maybe you want to see items on a purchase order for customer orders that were generated from the customer specific report, or I can even look at purchase request as well. Hey, did I not post something? Let me make sure I did all these orders, and here you go. So I have this mini backpack on order and this sports coat. I'm going to do a webinar on this type of purchasing in May. So I'll take you through the full cycle of creating the order at point of sale, going into purchasing, generating the purchase request, reviewing and posting the purchase request, receiving against that purchase request, and then running this report to see who you owe merchandise to. Another nice thing about generating purchasing documents from that report is this. This is pretty nice. And again, this only happens if you generate POs from that report. So I'm just going to go ahead and find Gina in here. So let's see, Gina, let's find Ken. So I'm going to click OK. So when I zoom in on Ken, oh, well, let me try Gina. Don't have one for Ken. So let's find Gina. There we are. And I'm going to zoom in. See how this special purchases button is lit up? This only lights up if you're using that purchasing report to generate your purchase request. So then you can keep track of, oh, I've got these shoes on order for Gina. They just haven't been received yet. Or maybe they have been received and I don't know it yet because I haven't run my report. But just by virtue of a customer putting an item on an order or a customer order back does not make this button light up. This button relies on that customer specific purchasing. Okay, let's go back to point of sale and reports. X-tape, not my favorite report. It is just like the drawer reading, gives you the same information as the drawer reading, but it's designed to print on your receipt printer. So when I click on this, and again, it's just Unposted sales. So if I have multiple stores and multiple stations, I'm going to get a receipt that's like super long. And then when I preview this, whoop, not that. So I get the same information. I get it on the drawer reading. My sales, my returns equals my net, my non-merchandise sales. And I can't scroll to the next page. I have to use my little arrows. I get a section where I can see what I started with, how much I collected for each tender. And then if I go to the last page, something that the X-tape has that the drawer reading does not, and it also makes the X-tape even longer, is I can see sales by subcategory. And there's a few other things you can see based on all these switches. So there's more elegant reports for sales by category or sales by subcategory. So if you don't want to use up your thermal paper, which is very expensive, you can simply uncheck all of these and then run the X-tape from there. Unposted sales analysis. If you ever go to sales history, reports, Sales analysis by group. This is for sales reporting on posted sales. So under point of sale reports, the unposted sales analysis is this same module, but for unposted sales. And the advantage of having the unposted sales analysis is that you're not just stuck with basic like drawer readings, ticket journals. You can look at sales by item, sales by category, sales by subcategory. All the reports are here, right here in this dropdown. So you can see there's a lot of customer reports. Anything that says document header is going to be kind of a more summarized report. Anything that says document line is going to be more merchandise driven. So maybe I want to see my sales by item. And I want to see more than top 10. And again, only unposted sales. So I'm always going to leave this report period to today because it won't look at yesterday if I posted. And then I can come here and select columns. So I can, select sales, and that's net sales after discounts. Maybe I want to see my cost of sales, and maybe I want to move that up. You can drag these elements, like this, just hold down your left click, but you have more control with this. And then maybe I want to see quantity sold. So I'm just going to find quantity, and there's quantity sold. When you're adding columns, whether it's an unposted sales analysis or sales analysis by group, you have a lot of sales elements here. If I did full price selling, what would my sales have been? So for that reason, I like this one the best because this is what did I really sell it for after discounts. Now I can just preview. And there's my sales by item report. And I want you to notice that it's printing in item number order, which is, it's okay. It'd be nice if it printed differently. Maybe I want it to print in order by the most sales or the most quantity sold. Well, you can. So if I go back to the parameters, instead of print in order by item number, I can say, I just want to print in order by sales. And again, I have all these theoreticals. So I just want this one. And so now when I preview, the item that collected the most dollars, looks like I have a tie here. The item that collected the most dollars will pull to the top. Now, it might just be that that's an expensive item, and that's why it's pulling to the top. So maybe I want to rank this by quantity sold. I want to see the item that I sold the most units. And it looks like I'm going to have a tie here, but I'll show you how to do that. So now I'll just come here and say, quantity sold. And this is a net value. So now the unit that I sold, or the item that I sold the most units, will pull to the top. But again, I've got a big tie here because I only sold 1 unit of each. Now, just like in sales analysis by group, once you pick the report you want, figure out how you want it to print, and select your columns, then you need to save it so that you don't have to do this all from scratch. So if I go to Options, Save Parameters, give it a name, Sales by Category. I'll call it today because I already have one in here. And I'm just going to copy this, Control C, and I'm just going to paste it, Control V, paste it down to the description. So now whenever I want to run that report, I don't have to build it all from scratch. I can just go right here. I can come to Options, Load Parameters, find my sales by category, click on Load, and Preview. Easy peasy. Some other reports that are worth noting in there that you might want to configure and save. Again, I like the document line. Here's sales by category. And then there's sales by primary vendor. There's even a sales by hour, but that would be under the document header because that's more of a summary. So, maybe I want to see my busiest hour today. So there's lots of reports in here to use, but the ones that are most frequently used: category, item number, sales by vendor. Price exceptions. This is to look at price overrides for sales that I haven't posted yet. So I'm going to click on price exceptions. I'm going to enable print price override so I actually see something. And I'm just going to preview it. So this is what it looks like. It's showing you the ticket number, the user, the item, the description, the price that it actually sold for after the price override, and what it rang up for originally. And then you can see that expressed in dollars and percentage. This is a good report to run to make sure your people aren't overly discounting or giving sweetheart deals to their friends. There's a posted version of this report as well, which I'll cover in March training. Reprint tickets. So we all know when we're at point of sale, the reprint ticket button will only reprint tickets for today's business. So if someone says, I need a copy of my receipt from yesterday, last week, last month, last year, you can find it here in reprint tickets. So I can filter for a date range. If I don't filter for a date range, I'm going to get all my tickets from the dawn of time. So you can see here, going back to July of 2022, I can filter for maybe a particular customer or a particular ticket number or this date range to figure it out. Another way that you can reprint tickets is if you happen to track customers, which most of you do. You track customers and you put their name on a ticket when you ring a sale. So if a customer comes in and says, I need a copy of one of my receipts, you could do it here, but you could also do it from the customer record. So if I go to customers, and I'm just going to find Gina. Now you can do this at point of sale as well. You don't have to leave point of sale. You can go into a customer lookup in point of sale and do this same activity to reprint a ticket from the past. So right here in the lookup, I can zoom in, or if I forget that, I click OK, then I can zoom in with this little Z up here. So you can see if I go to ticket history, I can find the actual receipt if I know the number, or maybe I know the date, or maybe I know the ticket total. And then if I click on this link, I can just print from here. And I'll only get the one receipt. And you can also pick your design here. You know, maybe you're printing it from your little 40 column printer, which is this, or maybe you print invoice size receipts, which is invoice, obviously. And then when I preview, I will get a copy of that receipt. Notice that when you're looking at ticket history, it doesn't give you any item detail. So you might not be able to figure what is what just based on this summarized information. So if you come up here to view ticket history, this is my favorite. If you go here, and again, your table view, here's a list of all the transactions for this customer. Here's the item detail. If that's just too much to look at, you can filter it down. Maybe I just want to see year to date. Okay, so that makes a lot less return. And then I can figure out which receipt needs to be reprinted. But I can't reprint from table view. I have to click back on this icon, and then I can print from here. And same thing, you know, I can do my invoice, I can do my regular 40 column, whatever I like. So that's reprint tickets. Now, under point of sale and many other modules, when you open up reports, you see history and you see journals. So here in history, closed order, closed layaway, drawer, ticket, Z-tape, journals, closed order, ticket journal, drawer journal, closed layaway, Z-tape, same reports. Here's the difference. So if I come here to the ticket history, and anytime you see that word history, you want to make sure you use filters, because if you don't, you're going to get history from the beginning of time with Counterpoint. So here in this example, I would go to ticket history and I would say, just show me everything from yesterday. And then preview. And there you go. So I could filter for it. I had these two tabs here. I can filter many different ways. A journal, on the other hand, does not have that flexibility. So if I go to the same report, instead of ticket history, I go to ticket journal. There are no filters. The only thing I can do is go into the event lookup and select the posting event. And this was a drawer that I didn't ring sales on, so I closed it empty. So the history reports give you more flexibility. I tell you, a really good history report when it comes to balancing to your bank statements once a month is drawer history. Very handy. So if you go to drawer history, because you don't want a lot of detail with this, let me make the box a little bit smaller. You don't want a lot of detail with this. You just want to uncheck everything except the report totals. Just give me one big total for the entire month of all the money I collected for each tender, because I'm going to balance that to my bank statement. So again, I have to use dates here. If I just go to preview, I'm going to get everything from the dawn of time. So if I come here, maybe I just want to see year to date or last month, whatever the case may be. And I get a very nice brief report where I can see what I collected for each tender and what should be on my bank statement. Well, AR won't, of course, not until you take payments. Okay, so that's history reports versus journal reports. A little more flexibility in history. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. And there you are. And we'll go from here. So hopefully, now that we've poked through all the reports, you know what you do and don't need. You also should know that you can design unposted sales analysis reports with reports that are already there, but you can add whatever columns that you like, and the difference between a history report and a journal report. Okay, and let's go to the next one. Here we go. On Friday, you'll get a link to today's recording, and you'll also get a survey. It's a happy, sad face type thing. You can remain anonymous if you like, or if you just want to go to our website and fill out the survey, www.cksystem.com/training bites. You can also give me topic suggestions. I'm looking for topics for 2025 at this point, so feel free. If you want custom training tailored to your business with your data instead of my golf store, you can call me at the main number extension 3 or at my direct extension 413, or you can email training@cksystem.com. Just let me know what you need. We'll schedule an appointment. So next month, we're going to continue on reports. I dedicated the first quarter of this year to reporting. So this month it was point of sale reporting. Next month, it's going to be inventory reports. And then in March, we're going to do sales analysis reports. So next month, I am going to talk about all the reports that you see. Some of them you may need, some of them you may not. We'll talk about merchandise analysis, where you can design your own reports. And again, we'll look at the difference between history and journal reports. Okay, with that being said, any questions?
And we do have a question in the queue.
Okay.
Anonymous says.
That's okay.
Is there a report that shows you the items you have sold so far that day?
There sure is. And I assume you mean unposted sales. You want to see what you've sold today. You haven't posted your sales yet, correct? So
Well,
that
that's
would
what
be
I
one of
would
my
say.
favorite. Yeah, that So again, one of my favorite reports, point of sale reports, unposted sales analysis. So if I use this drop down and I go to document line, item number. Now it's going to default to top 10, so you'll need to change it. But this is only going to look at my item sales today that I haven't posted. Any other questions, Marty?
Let's take a look at chat. I don't see anything in chat. And nothing else in Q&A, I don't think. It's refreshing.
Well, let's let it refresh.
And I don't see anything.
Okay.
Except for the question you did ask that was there is disappeared. So I don't know if the person removed it because we answered it or because I don't know. Anyway, it's all good.
It's okay. Yeah, either way. I mean, questions are always good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Well, thank you as usual for your time. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to sign up for my webinar, February the 7th, inventory reporting. It'll be fun. Okay, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks again for your time.
Bye-bye.